T minus 10 minutes. T minus 9 minutes. T minus 8 minutes. T minus 7 minutes. T minus 6 minutes. T minus 5 minutes. T minus 4 minutes. T minus 3 minutes. T minus 2 minutes. T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Take is when I'm sipping you. You know where I go when we're dancing. Handshakes in the Hamptons and getting drunk in the mansions with you. Yeah. And you look so classic. Come through with that magic. You know that I'm about to smash it. It's true.
Alright. Thank y'all. Let's see what
I could take it to the room or I could take it to the beach. But we gotta leave at 9 cause I gotta get my sleep. You could be the early bird, I'ma give you that worm. Get with me, I'll take you around the world. Cause if it's gold, I'll throw it away. You're worth more than every single chain. Walk with a lamp, it just means I'm cool. Next trip I take is just me and you. You know where I go.
But without further ado,
I guess to close it out, we'll do our handshake.
indeed, episode 10
Signing off.
in the books.
Because first of all, it's Tennessee, and I just hate them because they low down, they dirty, they some snitches, and I hate Philip Farmer. I hate their colors. I'm not a dog person. I just hate Tennessee, man. Like, and I hate Neyland Stadium. It looks like a garbage truck worker convention, and I hate all their quarterbacks. I hate Tennessee, man.
Describe what you.
It's a garbage truck workers convention.
That's a good way to open up the podcast. That's how I feel after Saturday's game. But welcome
Hello.
to the podcast, episode 44 of the
6 more.
Handshake. We are the sports podcast to the high five. If y'all do not know, we mainly focus on Florida and Florida State football and baseball. Sometimes NFL, MLB, and NHL also. There's a lot of professional sports starting and finishing right now.
Oh, yes.
MLB going into the postseason. Not our favorite teams in there, but we are going to talk about that in the podcast. But NHL starting up.
Thankfully and unthankfully for some teams.
Yeah. I think we just finished, week 7 or 8 of college football and week 6 of NFL?
Yes.
We are currently hearing gunfire while we are doing this.
What's today's date? Please don't tell me people are celebrating Columbus Day.
Hey, celebrating Columbus. Hey, but we're going to be talking a lot about professional sports today and college football. A lot of great games this past weekend.
Very much so. Oh, yes.
Not so much for the University of Florida, but Florida State was able to get away with not a loss this week.
Well, recruiting we did, but
Yeah.
not on the football field.
That is true. We
That's
do
all
have
that
to
counts.
talk a little bit about recruiting, the update that's been happening on Florida State's side and Florida. A lot of people flipping on both sides of both teams right now.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said,
Yeah.
how do people find us?
If you want to stay up to date with everything going on as far as the podcast, we do have some other videos up as well on our YouTube channel. Twitch doesn't give us a whole lot of time to keep it up on the Twitch page. Mm-hmm. So all of our content after it's done on Twitch directly gets moved over to YouTube. Mm-hmm. So we've done we've done one pre-game walk where the morning of the game we walked around the stadium, kind of talked about everything going on. We also have a few pre-game and during and post-game interviews as well of a few of the FSU games this season. So if you want to stay up to date with that, go to our YouTube channel. It should be, I believe it is this.
Everything's going wrong right now. Oh, well.
Yeah. So go to our YouTube channel. Definitely, it's the right name. I'm so sorry that threw me off. Yeah. So it's going to be the same name. Check us out on YouTube. Definitely, if you want to check a little bit more personal and day-to-day things as far as sports, memes, everything in between, you can actually follow us on our Instagram, on our Twitter. Instagram is going to, at least for me, be JTV Tree, and my Twitter be JTV Tree 16. Instagram is JTV Tree. But I post a lot of, I guess you could say, spicy memes on there that are sports related, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, very informative. I have uplifting stuff, funny stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I try to do the same thing with my Instagram. If you want to follow mine, my Twitch is j.high5, and my Instagram and Twitter is XXC10. I try to keep up with a lot of the sports stuff that's happening, with everything that's going on. Like Saturday, I think I counted close to 25 posts I did.
Oh my god!
From the morning time to the afternoon of just fun, cool stuff that I found around college football and NFL that was happening Saturday and Sunday. It was a little break of flipping through Instagram. You see all the mindless stuff. You went to my story and it was just straight college football stuff that happened throughout the day. You got your 45-second news of what happened, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I try to keep everybody a little bit updated on my story. So, yeah.
Definitely. So,
His stuff is good too. I love your memes.
Yeah, we have definitely have a collective amazing amount of content on all of our platforms we have, as far as the actual podcast, gaming channel, everything like that, and also, you know, our personal stuff going on. But yeah. Well, with all the things that just happened in the past 5 minutes, I guess it's time to get moving on into our first segment.
Yeah, our first and one of my favorite segments, and a lot of people's favorite segment. We were actually got in trouble because we didn't do this last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of our good watchers, Amy, she was a little upset that we didn't do it. So this week we're going to get down to business on our random story of the week. Yeah. I had a good little relaxing weekend this past weekend, yeah. Other than watching Florida lose in craziest fashion against Tennessee, we went out to Crestview this past weekend. And we first were believed that we were going to a pretty big Oktoberfest that was put on. We saw all over Instagram, Facebook, saw an article on that was put out by them saying that was going to be a really big shindig, a bunch of German-style food, beer, activities. So, cool, we'll go there while we go to Crestview.
Oh, no.
Ended up there was only 6 tents there in total, and they did not serve German beer. They served Coors Light, Bud Light, Budweiser. The closest thing to a German beer that they had was Yangling. Not even close. They advertised that
the only reason why that's German is because it was made by German immigrants that were American. That is ridiculous.
Yeah. They didn't have brats or sauerkraut. They had hot dogs and onions. So we got wise and we're like, all right, let's get out of here. This ain't going to be our little shindig. No. So we get in the car and we look up German restaurants near us, like actual German restaurants. We found one a little farther down the road. It was on the way towards Fort Walton. We get over there. We walk in. As soon as you breathe in, you're like, this is German. This is German. Like, this is some German cooking food.
This is German.
So we sit down, and I got me some brats. Dude, great.
Delicious.
Very good. And they had...
a good brat.
Yeah. A good brat is magnifico. But I got their Oktoberfest that they brewed themselves. That was really good. One of the best. I'm not a real big fan about dark beer. I like my IPAs and I like my light beers,
Uh-huh.
and I like my hazies. But I'm not like a huge Guinness or like German style
Where it's
beers.
dark.
It's like
Yeah. I'm not.
that was good. That was really really good.
Was it like? Did it have the same color as like a Hooter Brown?
Yeah, it did. It was dark. It was a dark beer, but it just tasted really good. A lot of flavor in it, and it was actually refreshing.
Which, unless you're Irish or you're from Europe, Guinness is not refreshing.
No, not at all. It's like drinking chocolate syrup, in my opinion.
Except not good tasting chocolate syrup in my personal. It's good. It's good, but
yeah. But after that, the next day we went over to the Eglin Museum to see all the retired airplanes from World War II, Vietnam,
very nice.
all the way through like the big airplanes. My favorite was, I think it's called the Blackbird, the one that was created in 1960, or Black Hawk, Blackbird, something like that.
Is it a plane
Yeah,
by Skunk Works?
I think so. It was the one that flew from L.A. to D.C. in an hour and 4 minutes back in 1960 something, like 1964. Dude, impressive.
Was it a bomber?
It's that black one that's like a.
It's not the
triangle.
updated.
It's not the up. It's the first one, the first ever one they ever. It's not the triangle, but it's like.
Super pointy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That thing was so cool.
Yes.
Oh, it's almost 50 yards long.
Yeah.
It's like half a football field. That thing is huge.
I believe that was the first plane that Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works division actually came out
Yeah.
for the U.S. government.
We got to walk around the bombers. Those were dope. That was awesome. B-52 and everything.
Gotta love the B-52.
Yeah.
They're huge.
If y'all do not know a lot about war history, like American war history, we love it. I love World War
War
II.
museums are like
Yeah.
my favorite place to go to.
Me too.
Amazing.
If y'all haven't been to a lot of these places like Eglin or the Alabama ship over there, I think it's a Mobile.
Is Eglin in Pensacola?
Yeah, it's like Pensacola, Fort Walton. It's,
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
that area,
biggest
that
base.
big old.
Yeah, that's where they
base, yeah.
test the Moab.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
So there's a lot of stuff that goes. If y'all have the time and y'all like to go around and do stuff, I advise to go to any base possible, any museum that talks about history of war or just anything with our military. I advise just go and learn.
Do they still? Because I went way back whenever I went with the Boy Scouts to the USS Alabama, and we stayed overnight in like 2008, 2009, and we went to that Naval War Museum. Do they still have it to where you walk out and it's like the deck of and then they have like the plane sitting with the
Yeah.
Oh man. See, I love that kind of stuff. And then you can
So
hop in the
cool.
guns and then you can like rotate them and all that stuff. It's so cool.
I love all that stuff. It's really cool. But that's what I did this weekend. That's my random story of the week.
Very nice.
Yeah, what about you?
What did I do this weekend? I really didn't do a whole lot. I went to work. I watched college football. I watched Oregon make Mr. Day look like an absolute moron once again.
Yeah.
Against top 5 teams, now 1-7. I'm really trying to think of something that happened this week, and I should have been more prepared, but I really didn't have anything happen.
Did you get good sleep this weekend?
I did get decently good sleep, and I went to dinner with a friend, and that was fun.
That's good.
And then
How was that?
it was good. It was good. One of those where you're like planning on being there for like an hour from like 7 to 8, and then you look at your phone and it's like 12:30.
That's always good. I like having little dinners like that.
Absolutely. But yeah, it was just overall a good weekend, productive weekend, even though I didn't do a whole lot. But yeah, Bucks got the dub. I was
Dude, raise the
on my
flag.
Snapchat. I was whenever the Bucks or whenever the Saints went up 27-24 and scored 27 points nonstop, and they only scored one quarter in the second quarter. I literally put on my Snapchat story. I was like, I'm done. I don't know how our offense can be this good, and then our defense gives up 27 points. And they must have heard me because the Saints only scored in the second quarter.
Yeah.
They were goose-egged the first quarter, the whole second half.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Very good game for the Bucks.
Indeed. Next story of the week, I promise I'll have some heat.
For sure. I'm ready for it. I always try to have a good story.
Or I'll make something happen.
There you go. Cause some trouble. No, don't cause trouble. Be a good guy.
Look at the booking report tomorrow. I'm just playing.
Oh. You'll definitely have a story by then.
This is what happened to me. 48 hours in county.
Yeah. Well,
that concludes our random story of the week.
That does. And on that bombshell, we're going to head off tonight. Oh, okay. Let me try to recoup myself to talk about the Florida Gators this past weekend.
Is that how we're going to go?
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go ahead
we can
and
talk
dive
about
into
that.
this.
Now we can talk a little bit about recruiting, and then we can talk about the Heisman.
Okay. Yeah, because we usually start with Florida. If y'all don't know about our podcast, we usually start with Florida State news. Then we roll into college football news, and then we roll into professional sports. So to start out with the Florida and Florida State segment, the Florida Gators played the Tennessee Volunteers this past weekend in Neyland Stadium. All I got to say is upset was about to happen. But Florida was just bad coaching was the fall of that game. Florida lost 23-17 in overtime. Going into the game last week, I said to everybody on the podcast that if Florida's defense shows up like they did against UCF, we would have a chance.
Yeah.
And they did. The first half, they looked really, really good. Kept Tennessee scoreless. It was 3-0 into halftime. But the thing is, the score should have been 21-24-3. Or nothing at that time. Mm-hmm. Florida left 21 points on that field in the first half. 2 drives going down to the red zone and nothing happening out of it. One was a field goal, but going forward on 4th down, 4th and 1 right there on the goal line with a quarterback keeper is not the smartest call in the world. And we know who called it. Our buddy Billy freaking Napier.
The GOAT.
My man has some questionable play calls. Let's flash forward a little bit. Going into the fourth quarter, it looked like Florida was out of the game. Wasn't going to be able to do it. Tennessee scored, went up 17-10 at that time. DJ Lagway's driving down the field. Beautiful pass, I think it was to Eli Badger. Scored the touchdown. 39 seconds left on the clock.
Badger.
39 seconds left on the clock. You can either kick the field goal, tie the game, or you can go for 2 and win it. Or go up. Hopefully your defense, who has been holding pretty strong the whole entire game, will be able to make that stop in 39 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, kind of didn't happen. Florida lines up in the weirdest way possible for this 2-point conversion. Tennessee calls a timeout. Okay. Line up, do a different 2-point conversion. No. Billy Napier says, let's kick a field goal. We're going to tie this game. We're going to win it in overtime. As soon as that happened, me and my dad looked at each other and we said, this is it. Florida lost. We can just go to bed, rest easy, knowing we went to overtime. But we lost. We know we are. The plays that he chose in overtime should have been plays that he should have been calling during the game. Tennessee was ready for it, though. They had that blitz on lock. Had DJ sacked right there off the bat on first down. Sacked them on second down. And I think third down, we throw a screen pass to Montrell, and he gets a couple... Not Montrell. I think it was our other running back. Florida's other running back. He gets upfield, barely into field... not even into field goal range. We can't kick a field goal. Tennessee gets the ball back. They just march right down. Choke it right down our throat with a run game. Their running back looked good, and they ended up winning it. I got to give credit real quick to Tennessee's running back. 27 carries, 112 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
3?
Yeah. He looked really good.
All of their touchdowns?
All 3 of their touchdowns.
No way.
Yeah. So he was the bright spot for Tennessee. Without him, Tennessee wouldn't have won that game, to be honest with you. They probably would have had another running back to do that. But Graham Mertz was playing pretty good the whole entire game. He was 11-16, 125 yards, and 1 touchdown at that point. And right after throwing that touchdown, he was celebrating and tore his ACL in his knee.
He hurt himself while celebrating?
Yeah. And he just jumped back.
Bro, I thought it was like during a play.
Mm-mm.
I didn't...
Like he got hurt, like kind of shooken up a couple plays beforehand. But right there, he was jumping up and down, and as soon as he landed, he started falling to the ground. He went to the sideline. He was yelling and screaming. Didn't look good at all. But he's going to be out for the remaining of the season. I do have to say, Graham Mertz, the past 2 seasons with him was up and down, I would say. He was not the best quarterback, but he was a very good quarterback. Mm-hmm. Now seeing what DJ Lagway can do for us this season and going forward, kind of anxious to see what's going to happen. Hopefully Mertz taught him well enough about how the system works and everything. I think he's picked it up pretty well so far. This past game, he went 9 for 17, 98 yards, and 1 touchdown and 1 interception. The 1 interception was when he fully took over from Mertz after he got hurt and basically gave Tennessee the advantage to win the game at that point. Mm-hmm. And then the following drive marched down the field and scored that touchdown. So very good for DJ Lagway coming back after that interception. Gives a lot of hope for coming up. But it goes all the way down to the coaching. The Miami game, it was the coaching. Yes, they were a little lethargic going into the game. Miami just started out hot, quick. Good coaching. It's very easy to get out of a situation like that. It felt like Napier was confused during that Miami game. Mm-hmm. Texas A&M game also. They came out hot. Florida wasn't ready. Defense looked pretty solid during the Texas A&M game. Yeah. But our coaching was our downfall of that game. And going into our 3rd loss this season, this Tennessee game, 28 points in total that whole entire game we left on the field. So many points Florida could have had. Gone. All because of the lack of coaching, the lack of competence from a coach. He's just... The 12 men on the field. I think this is like the 14th time we've been caught in the past 3 years for 12 men on the field for a field goal unit. Yeah. You have less than 20 seconds to get guys off the field and on the field. I know in reality that sounds hard. But these are football players that have been playing their whole entire life. These are coaches who have been coaching and playing football their whole entire life. And they can't seem to count how many people need to be on the field. Trying to run the ball, a quarterback sneak, on 4th and 1 on the goal line. What is going through your head at that point? And we also do a quarterback sneak and a run when we're going for on fourth down, I think we had 3 fourth down conversions and we're 0% on all of them. I'm not calling for Billy Napier's head at this moment right now. There's still a couple games to be won and lost. But if there's more games that are lost with the coaching, because you can put a lot of games up on the players, lack of playing on the field, a lot of people not playing to their fullest ability.
Mm-hmm.
Could be injuries you can blame it on. Yes, you can blame this game on the injury of Mertz. But the game was still at the same pace as it was when Mertz was playing and without Mertz playing.
Yeah.
It relies all on the coaching. Again, I don't want to call for his head now because that's not a good look for the University of Florida, firing a coach midway through the season. They're known for doing that. They've done that with They've done that with Muschamp. Did that with McElwain. Not a good look at all. So I don't want Florida to do that just yet.
Yeah.
I want to see what Napier can do at the end of the season. That's why there's a coach carousel at the end of the season. Give him to the end of the season. But if he loses the Kentucky game up to coaching, because I know for a fact Florida can keep up with Kentucky. If he loses the LSU game or the Ole Miss game up to coaching, he's definitely going to lose the Ole Miss game for coaching because Lane Kiffin's just going to – he's going to be playing chess while Napier's still playing tic-tac-toe in the locker room.
And LSU looked good this past week.
Yeah, LSU did look good. So if he can actually coach those games, because I know those boys are going to show up and they're going to actually try their hardest because it seems like those guys want to win. Those Florida guys are doing everything they can to win. I had a different tune during the Miami game. After that, I felt like nobody was trying, especially at the Texas A&M game. I really felt like nobody was giving their fullest potential. But this past 2 weeks against UCF and Tennessee, the players are there. The players are ready to do something for the university. And the question is Billy Napier ready? And I'll give you the answer. No, he'll never be ready. He'll never be ready to coach Florida or any SEC school to be good. His recruiting's good. I'm going to give him a B+ on recruiting.
Yeah.
His coaching, F-. Now, probably one of the worst coachings I've seen in a long time.
Oof.
Some bad play calling. Horrible. While watching that game, I also looked over at my dad and I said, we should have gave Muschamp a little more time. That's all I got to say to finish out my thing. Going back 3 coaches ago, really.
You should have given Dan Mullen more time, bruh. The only person that you should have fired is that the shark hugger.
McElwain. Hate that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you go from Urban Meyer to him to then Jim McElwain.
Yeah.
Oh, that's literally like going from Bobby Bowden to Jimbo Fisher to Willie Taggart. Except Jimbo at least got it. Oh, nasty. Yeah. Nasty. It's okay.
That's my little rant about the University of Florida. Coming in strong with the podcast about how I feel about things. Florida had a chance. They really did. They did exactly what I said last week.
Yep.
Come out strong with the defense, and they did. Hopefully they can do that this weekend with Kentucky. Kentucky is a hard team to beat, and they have a very good run team. So we'll see.
And just lost to probably the third best team in the SEC, which is Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
That's insane to think about.
It's all because of Nick Saban saying that it was the easiest place to play.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting his lick back. That's insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
It's all okay.
Oh, it will all be okay. College, sports is just sports. It shouldn't make your feelings get hurt, but dang, my feelings were hurt after that game.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
It is what it is. We have the toilet bowl at the end of the season.
that is true. That's something we can look forward
And
to.
Doak Campbell.
Yeah.
The toilet bowl.
Mm-hmm. So, how was FSU's off season? Off week.
Off season. Dang.
I meant to say bye week.
Disrespect.
There was no disrespect towards that.
Bye week was good. Apparently, Brock, big chicken Brock, is doing fantastic. Stepping into the starting quarterback position because DJ Uyunglele is out for the remainder of the year with a broken finger or fingers. But yeah, good things are coming out of practice. People are starting to get used to probably people throwing accurate passes that aren't 1,000 miles an hour, that have touch on them, because there's a difference between getting it there quickly and getting it there on time with touch, which I'd rather take the second one all day, every day. Because even if you throw it hard and it's on time, that receiver probably isn't going to catch it, which we've seen the entire season so far.
Yeah.
A few injuries as far as FSU goes. A few starters are going to be out for the remainder of the year, but no fret, because like I have been saying, you need to start the young boys, because this season's pretty much done. There's no point in starting people that aren't going to be here next year or haven't showed that they want to play. Put in the freshmen, put in the redshirt freshmen, sophomores. We have a very few games remaining. If you put them in the last 3 games and start them for the remainder of the year, they wouldn't lose their eligibility. They would get snaps with the ones for however long they've been practicing until we probably don't make a bowl game, because we're not probably going to make one this year. Oh, well. But we need to be planning on the future. I feel the reason why FSU did not do good this year and we didn't make the changes which we need to make wasn't that Brock Glenn wasn't good enough. It's that even if Brock Glenn was good enough or better than DJ Uyunglele, you just paid $1.2 million to get this quarterback in that you're paying probably 9 times more than paying Brock Glenn. Mm-hmm. Comes in to start. He sucks. But how are you going to tell your boosters? How are you going to tell your coaching staff? How are you going to tell your fans? How are you going to tell everybody that you messed up? Big time, worth $1 million, and the quarterback isn't the right fit, but you don't want to fall on your own sword, so you ride it out. And that's exactly what he did this season.
It's very true.
Even though Brock Glenn didn't look absolutely fantastic, the offensive line wasn't really blocking up for him for the few times he was actually in. On top of that, the on-time throws that I saw this past week, I'd take that any day of the week. He's going to throw a pick or two, but I'd rather him throw 1 or 2 picks and throw me 4 TDs than throw me 1 pick and 1 touchdown, which is what DJ does. Mm-hmm. Brock Glenn's faster than DJ. He has the fastest 40 time out of all the quarterbacks that we have. He put on some weight. I feel like he gives us a lot better chance than DJ does. Do I think we're going to beat Duke? Probably not. This would be the year for Duke to break the streak, because they have never beaten Florida State in the history of the matchup. I believe it's like 23, 24, 25-0, whatever it is. So they have never beaten us. They are favored for the first time in the history of our matchup by 3, -3. I don't know if we'll win. It's Manny Diaz. Duke's look great all year, depending on who they've played. I think the defense might actually step up because, your back's against the wall. You could run. Who knows? The remainder of the season, Notre Dame didn't look great. Miami looks like if you play a really good defense and the ACC officiating doesn't screw you, you're going to beat them. Mm-hmm. That's it. We've already played Clemson. We've already played our big knockout teams other than Notre Dame and Miami. Florida's going to be a tough game at the end of the year like it always is. But if you look at the remaining amount of the schedule and you're like, North Carolina's terrible. you never know.
Never know that.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. I'm going to be honest. I thought Florida was down and out like us after the beginning, but y'all have been fighting, winning games and everything, and who knows what could happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what I thought would happen, but we have to be okay with it because life goes on. Like you said, sports are only just a little thing, even though it
hurts. It hurts.
I can't believe that I let 18 to 22-year-olds control my mental health like they do.
Yeah. Gotta be happy about it. Gotta look forward to the future. Just think about it this way. There's a lot of people on both of our teams that we root for that are going to be in the NFL one day that we're going to be able to talk about how good they were in the professionals and how good they were at college. Just be happy about what is to come.
I hope Patrick Payton gets undrafted.
Yeah.
I can't believe at the beginning of the season he had the third greatest odd to win the Heisman.
Yeah.
Same thing with Marvin Jones Jr. He was the 9th overall for Heisman. Both of our Heisman, 2 of the top 10 Heisman candidates at the beginning of the season were 2 defensive ends for Florida State. That's never happened. Of course it never happens because they're terrible.
Yeah. That sucks. Florida sucks too. It's okay.
Why does Miami have to win? It irks me. Why can't it be like Clemson?
Yeah,
I'd
they
rather
had
Dabo be good than Miami.
They had a bye week this week too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank goodness we didn't have to watch them win.
Thankfully.
Yeah. But there was a lot of good football games this past weekend.
There was.
Not just focusing on that Florida-Tennessee game, which it was a good game.
It
Very good game,
Mm-hmm.
but it came down to the coaching. But there's a bunch of great games this past weekend. Vanderbilt showing that they can play with the big dogs.
Indeed. That the Alabama game at home was indeed not a fluke in catching Alabama sleeping.
Yeah. And Texas showed Oklahoma that they're ready to play
Oh,
SEC
my.
football, and Oklahoma just need to go back to the Big 12.
3 points.
Woo! That was a fun
Like, I
game to
understand
watch.
it's with your second string and all that stuff, but 3 points.
Yeah. Arizona State, another impressive win. But I'm ready to dive into these college football games. Some great games that we're going to be talking about here in a second. Jacksonville State, your old team on College Football Dynasty that you did your whole thing on.
Who they beat?
They beat New Mexico State.
Hey!
Destroyed them.
The big chickens.
This past Wednesday, 54-13.
Oh, I said that. I thought that said 24-13 from all
No.
the way over here. 54.
54-13. Good on Jacksonville State.
Good on Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
Look what happens when you change everything about your mascot. You actually get decent.
Yeah. But the big game that people were talking about on
Biggest
Friday that a lot of people were kind of hyping up was the return of Cam Rising. What is he in his 7th, 8th year in college football?
7th.
Yeah.
He graduated high school the same year we did.
Oh, really? Dang. Well, Cam Rising is go ahead and change your name to Cam Falling because that's what it kind of seems like he's doing the whole entire time while he's on the field. He was 18 for 37. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. 16 for 37, only 209 yards and 3 interceptions with 0 tutties. They had one rushing touchdown from Bernard, 21 carries, 129 yards, and 1 touchdown. Ooh, I think they had a defensive touchdown. That's why they had 19.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also,
no, 2 field goals. That's what it was. They had
also
2 field goals in
breaking
the
news
first.
out of that game. After the game, Cam Rising did announced that he does have something wrong with his pancreas or colon or something like that. So he is applying for yet another year of eligibility.
Oh my goodness.
So him and DJ Uyunglele are both going to be playing football for somebody next year. Take your million and get out of here. Go to Florida.
But Arizona State, 2 wins in a row against 2 pretty decent good teams. The upset last week and this week, the upset against Utah. That puts them at 5-1. I want to call it an upset because it looked like Arizona State had that in the bag that whole game.
Yeah, so you don't call the FSU throbbing against Clemson upset where we beat them in Death Valley at number 3?
Yeah, that was that.
I mean, it's still an upset. They're not ranked.
Yeah,
they
it
weren't
still
projected. They were. I mean, I believe Utah was like a 10.5 or 12.5 point favorite at the beginning.
They were?
Yes.
Dang.
Because Cam Rising came back.
Yeah, that is true. Because Arizona State, like after last week, I was like, man, this team they can win some games
Kenny
down the
Dillingham knows how to coach.
Yeah.
He knows how to develop, and he went to Arizona State, so he has that tie to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've looked great this entire year. They had a fluke game, like a crap game against Texas Tech. If you take that away, I mean, realistically, if they play really good against Kansas State and BYU, they could be 11-1.
Yeah.
And go into play for the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, because I'm looking at their schedule right here. They play Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, UCF, Kansas State. That's the hard one. BYU and Arizona.
So they literally have their 2 hardest games back to back. And they have cupcake.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a cupcake because I don't know what UCF and what that quarterback have going on, but they're terrible.
Yeah.
But Kansas State looked pretty good.
Arizona State can turn this season around and look really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what they're going to do. Another one on Friday, which a lot of people were not watching that. They were watching the Arizona State game. I'm talking about Northwestern and Maryland. Only thing good out of that game, I got to say, was that uniform combo that Maryland wore. We're going to be talking about here in a bit. But Maryland's not good at all.
I didn't even know that they were playing.
Yeah. Their record right now, 3-3? Yeah. Maryland's just been on a spiral up and downfall for the past couple of seasons.
Look at my... Oh, shoot. Yeah, look at my team getting a throbbing again.
You know what, UNLV?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. UNLV won this past Friday, 50-34 against Utah State. That was a game that everybody was talking about on Twitter too.
Gotta love UNLV over points.
UNLV, they're a surprising team to watch. A really cool team
this
to watch.
year since they got to play in they don't have their own stadium, so they play at the Raiders where the Raiders play.
Yeah. And they pack it out too. They get a lot of people going.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm loving
the celebration, the turnover celebration. They literally have the
slot machine.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I'm loving all these smaller colleges are starting to get bigger and bigger, more people showing up.
And they're getting better people to come from like JUCO and everything and being like, you know what, instead of me wanting to sit my sophomore year, my freshman year, I want to start. I'm going to go to UNLV, maybe play. I mean, they're starting to get to a point where UNLV can compete in the top 25, and you're going to be able to get recognition because people are watching the games, and you're good.
Yeah.
So you can go to UNLV, start your freshman year, play all 4 years, and you're going to go to the league probably in the first round because they're now becoming one of those college teams.
Yeah. That's
pretty cool.
I'm excited for that. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with FIU. Like, they're turning around their program year by year. It's taking a little bit of time, but FIU
Lane
and
Kiffin sent them
FAU.
back.
That was FAU. But FIU and FAU, they're starting to come back too. And it's going to be exciting to see what they do. Cheer on those Florida schools.
Except UCF.
Yeah. So going into Saturday, the heavy pack games that we got. The first one is that Texas-Oklahoma game.
Terrible.
Texas just came out there and looked like a team that's just going to do that to everybody. They look like how Alabama was 2 to 3 years ago, just steamrolling everybody they come across.
I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was. Yeah. See, it was literally one pick. They get over, get to field goal range, and then that was their only points. Was literally their probably first possession.
It was.
Or
It was second possession.
Second possession off the turnover, and then they do not score.
That was it.
Time.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers.
Quentin Ewers.
Why do I always do
Ewers.
that? Every time.
Ewers.
If I'm saying his name,
Quinn
I say it right.
Quentin Ewers.
Every time I say his name, I say it Ewers. But every time that I read it, I say Ewers.
Ewers. No, Ewers.
I know. So Quentin Ewers is...
No, you said Ewers. It is Ewers.
Ewers.
There you go. Quentin Ewers.
Quinn Ewers.
I'm going to punch you.
He went 20 for 29, 199 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Their ground game, though, was pretty good. 13 carries, 118 yards, Woo! 1 touchdown from Mr. Wisner. Man was on it. He looked really good.
Wisner's good.
Yeah. Texas defense just looked unstoppable that whole entire game. It felt like every time I looked up, they were in the end zone. They were giving a chance for the offense to be in the end zone.
Was Helm the lead receiver, their tight end?
Yeah.
Yay!
He had 5 receptions, 91 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Which Texas was probably my favorite because I did Dynasty with almost like 9 seasons with them. So I probably know Texas's starting 22 better than I know FSU's starting 22 this year.
That's insane. Texas is definitely going to stay undefeated this whole entire season. Yes. I think they play Georgia this week.
They do.
Then Vanderbilt. That's going to be a pretty tough game for them. Vanderbilt actually looks like a big dog in the SEC now. Texas obviously is going to beat Florida. Their second rivalry game of the season against Arkansas. That's going to be very exciting. I'm anticipating that one because that's an old rivalry coming back, and it's now going to be a conference game again, like used to be when they were I think it was the Southwest Conference. That's going to be awesome to watch. Then they got Kentucky, easy win for them, and then Texas A&M. They can easily go undefeated and be in the SEC championship game and win the SEC championship game.
At the beginning of the year, it was going to be Texas.
Yeah, Texas looks really good. And another team that I think could very well win out is the University of Oregon. With a back-and-forth game with Ohio State this past weekend that I said might go undefeated last week. But I knew this was going to be their one game that's going to be like, are they good enough? Because they might meet again in the Big Ten championship game. But Oregon won 32-31. Ohio State, they're good. They're pretty good. As good as I thought they were last week, and I still stand by what I said last week. Ohio State could be that team in the playoff to make it pretty far. I know this game happened. You could see them play Oregon again in the Big Ten championship game, get their revenge on them, and then see them sit pretty well in the playoffs and Oregon be in the playoffs too. You're going to see probably two Big Ten schools and maybe 2 SEC schools in that playoffs this year.
Ohio State's trash.
Do you think that Ohio State's trash?
Oregon's trash.
You think both of them are trash?
Mm-hmm. They're both going to make the playoff and lose in the first round. Bookmark it.
Okay. That's also a lot of things that
Texas is going to make the national championship game against a 4 higher seed.
Okay. Wow. That's going to be a fun game to watch.
And I'll also call it now 3 out of the 4 play-in games are going to be upsets.
I hope that does happen. That would be very cool to watch.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the two teams that are probably going to get duped, or at least one of them, are going to be two of these crap teams.
Yeah.
Because Ohio State is great until they have to play a good team, and Oregon hasn't shown me anything this year to where they showed that they're dominant. The only team that's dominant this year is Texas.
Yeah.
Texas could throttle both of these teams.
I think Texas could throttle Miami.
Anyone. Oh.
They would beat Miami by 34 points.
At least.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah, no, that Miami defense would have no shot.
Yeah. The biggest problem with Ohio State was that last play where they could have, their quarterback could have slid down or taken a knee,
Or thrown
called a
out of bounds,
timeout,
or done anything else. He literally made the worst decision other than getting sacked in the backfield.
Yeah.
That was literally the worst, and he did the second worst option.
Will Howard just did not make the wise decision, trying to run it upfield, get the most yardage he could. Yeah.
Job.
He was 28 for 35, 326 yards and 2 touchdowns. So a pretty good game throwing.
Yeah.
But not the wisest decision when it came down to the final play of the game. Mr. Gabriel on the other side with Oregon was 23 for 34, 341 yards and 2 touchdowns. So that my man had himself a day. He did pretty well too. I wouldn't say he is a Heisman front runner like everybody is saying, but he had himself a pretty good game this past week.
It's also 4-11.
Yeah. Another Big Ten game that happened this past week that kind of showed maybe this team isn't as good as we thought they were was USC taking Penn State to overtime and Penn State barely pulling it out. Going into that game, I think Penn State was a 12-point favorite or something like that against USC. Like, they should have blown them out of the water because how USC was the past couple of games. But USC stayed in that game the whole entire time, brought them to overtime, and then Penn State was able to pull it out. Moss threw for USC threw 20 for 34, 220 yards, 2 tutties, and 1 interception. And Mr. Alar from Penn State was 30 for 43, 391 yards, 2 tutties, and 1 interception. He was pretty good. Penn State is another Big Ten school that they're about to be shown up pretty quick. We're about to see the real Penn State really, really soon. And USC almost showed us what it was. But one school that everybody thought was top-notch at the beginning of the season, definitely 2 weeks ago, people thought they were the best team, was Alabama and South Carolina. Alabama, 2 weeks in a row, almost got upset by SEC schools that were considered at the beginning of the year the bottom feeders of the SEC.
After getting upset by the bottom feeder of the SEC.
Yeah. That's insane. So Alabama pulls out right there at the end against South Carolina, winning 27-25. Jalen Milroe did not look good at all. He went 16 for 23, 209 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions versus South Carolina. South Carolina's defense looked really, really good. They stayed with Alabama that whole entire time. Sellers looked really good. He was 23 for 31, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Sellers looked like he was the one behind the Alabama's offense. Like, he put up the stats what an Alabama quarterback would have.
Yeah.
And looking at what Vanderbilt did last week, it looked like Vanderbilt was Alabama from years prior. I put this on my story on Snap or on Instagram. Alabama is going to be on a Nick Saban hangover for a long, long time. This year, they're going to be upset maybe by Auburn at the end of the year. It's a rivalry game. You never know what's going to happen. You might see Alabama lose maybe 2 more games this season. You're going to hear Alabama fans say the worst possible thing for DeBoer.
Mm-hmm.
But if they stick with him, they could do very well. But they're going to be on this Nick Saban hangover for a good bit. They might take the Tylenol and get rid of DeBoer, like a lot of foolish schools have been doing here in the past, or they might just let this hangover go through. Mm-hmm. And you might be that DeBoer might be that next hangover, I guess you would say. Go ahead and fuel up on him. I'm trying to give hope for Alabama fans out there. I hope this doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. Hopefully Alabama gets the realization that college football, anybody can stink.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody can suck. You can have a great dynasty and the next thing you know, suck for the next 5 years. Alabama's just realizing this now.
Yes. It's a slow rip of the Band-Aid.
Yeah. It's going to be bad. All right, so we talked about the Tennessee-Florida game. Ooh, the LSU-Ole Miss game. That was a game that came down to the wire in overtime. LSU winning 29-26. That puts Ole Miss at their second loss this season. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you watch that game?
I did.
What was your thoughts about that?
Dart looks terrible. And they did not do a good job at all coaching him. Mm-mm. Even though the stats say something different, but when you throw it 42 times, I mean, you're bound to...
Well, he was almost like 40% on his throws.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Throwing it 42 times, you're bound to at least get half of them. And only 1 touchdown pass.
Yeah. And LSU is... They're not a bad team, but they're not a great team. At the beginning of the year, Ole Miss could have wrote them off the calendar. But now...
They're LSU of the past 3 years where they're just terrible at the beginning of the season, but then they only lose like 1 game or 2 games. And
LSU's getting a lot better. That LSU-Alabama game coming up, that's going to be a great one to watch.
Yeah.
I have a feeling LSU's just going to steamroll Alabama.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
No surprise with the Notre Dame game. No surprise with the Clemson game. Both of them blowing out their opponent, scoring 49 points. But Wake Forest only scoring 14 to Clemson and Stanford 7 to Notre Dame. BYU stomps all over Arizona. Arizona's little spark they had at the beginning of the season died out very, very quick.
Very quick.
Boise State.
The boy.
Woo! He is on pace right now to be Barry Sanders' perfect season that he had.
Oh, he's going to be like at the pace he's going right now. He'll probably surpass him at least 300 yards. Mm-hmm. At least. He's gonna pass him all time, I believe, on the touchdowns. How many touchdowns did Barry Sanders have?
I don't know. I need to look that up. Here, you talk about the game while I look it up.
Yes. So Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors did look pretty decent at the beginning of the season, but unfortunately that Rainbow Warrior mentality has fizzled out. They have not looked good as of late. So, I mean, I already knew that Boise State was going to run all over them. It was just when exactly it was going to happen. And literally, I believe his, third carry was a 75-yard touchdown.
Yeah. Barry Sanders' perfect season was he rushed for 2,850 yards, scored 44 touchdowns, and broke 34 NCAA records that year.
And he has how many touchdowns so far?
So far this season, Ashon Genty, or how you say his name? Ashton Genty.
He's 17 touchdowns.
He's got 17 touchdowns, and that's halfway through the season. So that could be
No. He'll pass them on
Rushes,
rushing yards,
but not
easy,
touchdowns.
but not touchdowns.
yeah.
But Barry Sanders probably was their entire, even though, I mean, he's their mostly entire offense, there is some quarterback play. Whenever Barry Sanders was playing, it was probably
All rushers.
how many carries. See, I want to know like average,
Ooh.
like carries and everything. Like that's the difference.
Okay, so Barry Sanders was 6.1 yards per carry. Right now, he's got 4.3 yards a carry. Wait, which average is it?
It's the 9.2.
Oh, 9.9. So he has 9.9
Yes.
yards a carry.
Almost 10. He's getting a first down every single time he grabs it. And then if you throw it to him, he's going to grab you 5 yards.
Holy cow. Yeah, that man's a beast. He doesn't look big, but the man's a beast.
No, he's built like a short little tank. Like, I don't know who it was. Shannon Sharp and Ocho were talking about it. And I don't know what they said he looked like, but it was like a mix between these two NFL backs because he's short, but he's like bulky, like burly, but not like too bulky where he's like. It was some name that was weird. And it wasn't the running back that went to Boise State.
No.
Even though he kind of reminds me of
Percy Harvin. That he kind of reminds me of him. Percy was short and stocky, and he was fast. So fast. But obviously he's putting up a lot more stats than Percy.
He gives me
Percy was a beast, though.
He gives me Derrick Henry vibes, except if Derrick Henry had was short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another big news before we go ahead and look at our uniforms for this past week.
Oh, so beautiful.
Is Vanderbilt beating Kentucky.
Bob Stoops is terrible once again, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Vanderbilt moves on to 4-2, beating Kentucky 20-13. Kentucky's a 3-3, so this next week when Florida plays Kentucky, it's going to be the battle of the threes. All I got to say is Vanderbilt's quarterback,
42,
15 for 18, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So let me paint this picture for you. He threw 1 interception and 2 incompletions. The whole entire game.
Yep.
Their run game is so good. Their running back had 11 carries for 58 yards, and I think they had 3 different running backs that whole entire game. Oh, multiple running backs. The other running back was 14 carries, 53 yards.
Almost 150 yards total rushing for the team.
145 in total.
Almost 150, yeah.
Vanderbilt pretty good. I'm giving them a lot of credit. Now, Florida has to play Kentucky this next week, so I don't want to, diss on them too much. But they did have a good run game that past game. I think it was 164 yards they had. So, looking good.
That's going to be an interesting game in Hogtown.
Yeah. So, Army moves on, still undefeated. This is the first time Army and Navy has been ranked together in the top 25 since 1960. So, that's pretty impressive on them.
I could see a scenario where both of those teams make it, because if Notre Dame doesn't look that great, if they somehow do that and they play each other at the end of the year and they're undefeated, even if the crazy thing is they could go undefeated, play each other for the 12th game, then play each other again for the conference championship, and then somehow play each other again in the college football playoff. They could play each other 3 times.
That would be insane. If that does happen.
Well, if that happens, I already know that we're going to World War III, because that's the...
Yeah.
They've been giving these 5-star kids fake names to go play for Army and Navy just to boost up morale and be like, oh, we won the... war. National championship, war. War.
Yeah. You ready to talk about some uniforms from college?
I am. There were some snazzy looking ones, especially a certain one that me and you both took a particular liking to.
Yes.
Something very eye-focused.
Yes. Hopefully everybody sees what we're talking about.
Hopefully they don't do too much looking around.
Yeah. Let's suit up and look at our game day threads. Where are they? Right here. Boop, boop. All right. Y'all ready?
All right, speed run.
3,
2, 1,
Boom.
Gabriel.
All right. So first up on the list, we have Western Kentucky with the
have the-
eyelids. Love them.
The
Best
ones that we were
ones.
talking about, great. 10 out of
Yes.
10. They did everything right with them. They did nothing wrong. Great googly moogly. The eyes are everywhere.
I love their logos that they've been doing on their helmets. 10 out of 10. UTEP too. 10 out of 10 on y'all's helmets.
Ooh, we have enough time.
Maryland, the only good thing about their jersey or game this past week was these helmets. Love the script.
It's like we always say. It's just the helmets. Even though every team has been doing it, they all have their own little feng shui to them.
Yeah. So we have Utah State and UNLV with their gray helmets. Love the gray helmets. Top 10.
Anytime anyone tries to do like an off-white or a gray helmet or jersey or anything like Oregon does with the shell,
Yeah.
Birken shell ones, it's 10 out
Clean.
of 10.
USF with the all black and Memphis with their white helmets. Love
They
these.
were hotter than fire.
Yeah. But USF wore their For the City stickers because of the hurricane that just happened.
Yes.
Thoughts and prayers with everybody who was
Indeed.
hit by Milton.
And Tropicana Field was getting sold on eBay.
Yeah. Louisiana Tech wore their blue helmets for the first time in school history. I give these a 10 out of 10. Looks really good.
First time in history?
Yeah.
Why haven't they been wearing these forever?
Dude, these are clean. I
Yes. What?
love them. Yeah.
Just
We got West Virginia's coal mining uniforms that we did a review early in the season.
Yes.
Awesome. 10
I'm
out of 10.
so sad they lost, but I'm glad who they lost to. But
Mm-hmm.
those I knew that they were going to lose with those jerseys, but they were so clean.
Yeah.
So clean.
Big win for them on those jerseys. So we have Rice
yes.
with some baby blue uniforms. I like this little trend that's going on. I know you don't like it, but I'm liking these uniforms.
Everyone is going with the powder blues. There are like 13 teams now that have the exact same color combo, except their main color's just different, but it's still clean.
FAU did a pretty cool helmets. They did a palm tree on one side and the state of Florida on the other. I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice little throw to the or shout out, I guess, to the state of Florida.
Yeah.
Looks clean. I do like the palm tree.
And North Texas with their script helmets, 10 out of 10. Love them. Right over here, we got I think this is
What is that, Montana State?
Montana State, yes. They did a cancer uniform where a bunch of people inside of hospitals were able to customize their own type of logos, like UCF did with the Child's Hospital.
That's sick.
Yeah. I forgot which team this is, but they did a fire up helmet. I thought that was really cool, and I was added it.
Was it
without-
Wichita State? They don't have a football. I think you have a football team. Though. Is it
No,
Wichita State?
it wasn't Wichita State.
No.
But I thought these helmets were pretty cool.
Is it Central Michigan or Western Michigan?
It could be Western Michigan. I think it is. Yeah, these were really cool. So we got NIU and Bowling Green. I thought these uniforms were really clean. I love Bowling Green's orange helmets, orange-brown helmets. I love
Yes,
them.
look clean, and I love the Northern Illinois All Blacks with
Yeah.
the new Husky logo.
And that wraps up our game day threads, a college edition. Ooh, some good clean ones I liked.
Western Kentucky.
Yes. Western Kentucky, with the big red one that they did last year, and they wore it again this year. Clean uniforms, clean helmets. These brought another.
You wouldn't think that a blob would look good, but it just looks good. It's like Grimace. It's a red Grimace.
Yeah. Speaking of your story, I saw a video of like Grimace on Ozempic. Was that on your story?
What?
Oh, it was on your story. It was somebody else's story I saw.
Oh.
So there was a college football game this past week that somebody dressed up as Grimace and was dancing in the 50-yard line. And they were like, Grimace is on Ozempic now.
Oh my gosh.
It was so funny.
One where there was a Grimace that was at a baseball game, and it was like twirling around like this, and I was like, I'm wearing this to the UNC game. I'm wearing a full Grimace costume.
There was some good memes on Grimace.
Oh, yes.
Which the Mets, we're going to talk about them in a second. Grimace has given them a lot of good luck right now in this season.
And the Hawk Tour.
Yeah. So we're about to talk about them just here in a second. But first, before we do, we got to talk about our Bucks. So now we're going to roll into our NFL portion. The Bucks played the Saints this past week.
They did.
Our biggest rivals. I would say they're bigger rivals than the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Destroyed them.
It was a unfortunate throbbing for all the New Orleans fans watching.
Mm-hmm. So Bucks destroys New Orleans 51-27. The first half ended with plus 53 on the score column between both teams. At the end of the game, the Bucks were just scoring. Baker, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He did have 3 interceptions. Those did come in the first half. He did have a rough start. But 4 touchdowns. I think it was the whole second half he had 4 touchdowns, right? Or 3 touchdowns in the second half.
Yeah.
He was incredible. 24 for 36, 325 yards. Baker just looked unstoppable. Sean Tucker on the ground, he had 14 carries, 136 yards, and 1 touchdown. He looked really good.
Sean Tucker looked great. What's his name from Oregon looked great.
Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irving looked really good. Oh, yeah.
14 carries, 81 yards,
And
1 touchdown.
For a rook.
Yeah.
He's getting his carries because Rashad White's out. He's getting his touches.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what Bucky's going to be doing for the Bucks coming up.
Yes, very much.
The Saints had their first time having Spencer Rattler start for them. They were kind of excited to see what he was going to do. He did pretty decent, fairly decent. 22 for 40, 243 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. For a rookie quarterback for his first time, almost mid-season, starting for his first time, I thought he did pretty decent.
Bucks defense.
Yeah, a very good Bucks defense.
Did a lot better than a lot of the other first-time starting quarterbacks this season that we've seen.
If we compare Caleb Williams' first game to this game, it probably would look almost the same as we see Caleb Williams this past week in, was it London they played?
And they murdered whoever they played.
Yeah, destroyed. I think it was I watched the game. Who did they play? Oh, the Jaguars. Yeah.
The Jags.
That was a crazy game.
Yeah.
Ooh, a little update on the game that's happening right now. The Jets are in the lead 3-0 in the first quarter. Bills have the ball though. But going through all these games that happen, I do want to touch up on the Thursday night game that happened. The 49ers and the Seahawks, I want to say the throwback that they did for Thursday for the uniforms, clean. Loved them. But
they look beautiful.
Yeah.
They were so nice.
The 49ers looked so good, though, that game. winning 36-24. Brock Purdy actually put up some points. I put some faith in him this past week, and he showed up and he did well, which I could have put it on Baker or Purdy this past week, and they put up the same numbers.
Enough.
Yeah. Purdy went 18 for 28, 255 yards, and 3 tutties, while Geno Smith on the other side of the field threw 30 for 52, 312 yards, 1 tutty, and 2 interceptions. 49ers defense was locked down that whole game. They looked really good, and I think they're starting to get back to where they were last year at this point, or towards the Super Bowl. I'm not going to say they're a Super Bowl running team again this year, but they're pretty good. They're going to put a lot of Quake games in there. They're going to win a lot of games that people are going to think they're not. Brock Purdy is a good quarterback, and he has games like this, and then he has games like he had a couple weeks ago, not looking well at all. So it's going to be exciting to see what the 49ers do.
Yeah. We will see. We will see.
One game that came down to the very end that was surprising to watch was the Commanders and the Ravens. The Ravens able to pull it out with Lamar Jackson. Jaden Daniels, I'm going to say, like, he's not a bad quarterback. He plays pretty well.
He's pretty good.
He threw 24 for 35, 269 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think he is that last puzzle that the Commanders have been looking for a long time. And I know the quote is that it's not young quarterbacks that fail on franchises, it's franchises that fail young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That quote has been thrown around this whole season so far. And this franchise is actually sticking with Jaden Daniels.
For the first time ever, the Washington Commanders actually have a full squad.
And they're actually relying on a good quarterback. Before, they had all these... You can list off like 20 different quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and they played for the Commanders. They can never find a fit.
Ever.
And they finally found themselves a fit. And I think they're going to do a lot of great things this season. Their only 2 losses is to the Ravens and the Bucks. 2 great defenses right there.
They're a good team. They're a good team. They're literally like a few... I mean, we beat them a little bit more than the Ravens did, but I mean...
That was his first game.
Yeah, and they're 1 play away from being 5-1.
Yeah.
Oh, I know the Giants are punching themselves right now because they could have had him, but they wanted this backup quarterback to do his magic for a few games just so they couldn't have the number 1 overall pick, and look, they're garbage again.
Yeah.
Losing to a awful Cincinnati Bengals team. I don't know what's happened. I don't know how you can have a team with T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow and be this bad, but
yeah.
Apparently, if you lose to the Kansas City Chiefs that many times,
it does a number on you.
It's going to get to you.
Yeah. One game that I was very happy to watch was that Lions-Cowboys game. The Lions put a big old butt whooping on the Cowboys this past weekend. So much so that they use an offensive lineman to score a touchdown.
Yes. They were literally using offensive linemen on pass plays.
That's insane.
And getting
on Jerry Jones's birthday.
Yes. How fitting.
What a birthday present.
Golly. Let's go. 7-3.
Hey, Bills just scored. So that's good. I'm cheering for them to do good this week.
I am too.
I told my boss to bet on them, so.
Ooh. Josh Allen rushing touchdown. 1 attempt, 1 rushing yard, 1 touchdown.
There we go. So this past weekend, there was a couple of good NFL uniforms to look at. And I'm ready to talk about these too. Especially those throwback uniforms that we saw this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Some great ones. All right, let's talk about them. First up, the Seahawks and the 49ers with what they wore on Thursday. beautiful.
Got the nice throwback to the old-timey unis, which honestly they should just rock these for the remainder of the season. They shouldn't even go back to the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are awesome. Both teams, I would say. The Panthers with their blue jerseys and their black helmets. I hate them, but I like them. If that makes sense. What are you thinking?
It'd be a lot better if they didn't suck.
Yeah. The Chargers and the Broncos. I love this combination that the Chargers run with, the yellow pants. Another look at the new uniforms with the Broncos. Still not a fan of them. Still looks better than their old uniforms.
They're slowly growing on me more than more that I see Bo Nix in it.
Okay. Patriots with their throwback uniforms this past weekend. I love these uniforms. I love them when they wear them in the snow out games, but they did not look too well this past weekend.
They look terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because it's like it looks like an updated version of it, but they don't look like the old throwbacks of like the back times when Tom Brady was playing.
They don't. They kind of look like a college football knockoff of the uniform.
They look a lot more vibrant colored.
Yeah.
A lot more vibrant.
I like the darker red that they used to have with it. It looked a lot better.
Yes.
Yeah, but that wraps up all the uniforms that we saw this past weekend on Sunday. I hate to talk about this next thing. MLB.
Yep. Mets jumped back, unfortunately, and the Dodgers could not score another run. In fact, the Mets scored another run.
Yeah.
It was a throbbing of the Detroit to the Mets the other night or last night, and then now the Mets get their sweet, sweet revenge.
Mets tied the series 1-1. Whew. Let's see what's going to happen with those. Let's
go Mets.
I hate to say it, but let's go Mets. I hate the Mets, but I'd rather see them win than the Dodgers. Just because
the
of how much...
Iranian Grimace page to start posting.
Yeah. Well, I have two reasons. One, Grimace. That whole Grimace thing I think is pretty cool. And the second one is, how funny would it be if your organization like the Dodgers spends almost billions of dollars on this team just to fold against the Mets that they thought was going to finish last place in our division.
And then the same thing with the Yankees. What if the Yankees beat the Guardians and then it's the Subway Series of the World Series like
that would be awesome. If that happens.
And then the Mets beat the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That would be crazy.
I
would hate to see the Mets win a World Series, but if it happened that way, I would like it.
Of the final four teams, I hate the Guardians. I hate the Yankees, and I hate the Dodgers. I don't hate the Mets.
I hate the Mets. I hate all four of these teams. So, not a good World Series.
I'm still having fun. The Mets are my team. Let's go Grimace.
Yeah. Yeah, the Yankees right now in the bottom of the third, up 1-0 against the Guardians. So it's going to be surprising to see what's going to happen with this postseason. I know there is news on the Red Sox. There's something that just got released on them.
Yeah, we have a Netflix documentary.
Yeah, on the 2004 Red Sox team.
Yep, the only team in the history of baseball to come back from a 3-0 series deficit.
A very cool season.
Against the Yankees.
The New York Yankees.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah. Isn't there supposed to be another documentary on this year's team? Like a vlog of the going through the season? I know there was something at the beginning of this year.
They were going to talk about that, but since our run differential was 0.
Is that why it got replaced with this documentary?
I'd much rather hear about the 2004 season than this year's team.
Yeah, that is true.
Or do 18. Do 2013. Do any other year except this year, honestly.
Yeah. Go through NBA games that are happening. Preseason.
Yeah,
Coming
the
up.
NBA hasn't started.
I know.
yet.
But we're coming up to, we're, what, a week away? 2 weeks away from regular season? Here we go. First game is
22nd.
Yeah, October 22nd. That's going to be the first tip-off of the NBA season. I really don't have a team in the NBA. If I was to say so, it would be the Flint Tropics. No, it'd actually be the Orlando Magic. They're a team that I always thought they were a cool logoed team. Of course, I don't know anybody on their team. I don't know anything about them because I don't watch.
Who has played for the Orlando Magic?
Magic Johnson.
No.
He definitely did not play for them.
Shaq.
Shaq played for them, yeah. Yeah. I don't watch NBA. Just updating them on when the season's going to start. How's your... you like the Lakers right now? No. Not the Celtics. You're a Atlanta Hawks guy.
I'm not an NBA fan. I'm a LeBron fan. No, I'm not a LeBron fan anymore. I'm a my NBA bets winning fan.
That's
the
go.
kind of fan I'm going to be this year. Oh, NHL hockey.
Yes, got to talk about some
lovely.
NHL. You want to talk about the Bruins for a second?
Yeah, how they're going to win the Stanley Cup this year because of the 2 add-ons that they got and they didn't lose anyone.
Yeah, that I'm talking about like their off season. They had a pretty good off season.
We pretty much stacked up everywhere where we needed to and literally said, "All right, Pasternak, lead us."
Mm-hmm.
That was our first loss either our first or second loss today against. Actually, both of our losses this year have been to the stupid Panthers.
Yep.
We're 2-2.
Yeah. Trying to find the Lightning real quick. They play tomorrow.
They haven't even played a game yet.
Yeah, they have.
Oh. They're
1-0.
0-4.
No, they're 2-0. They should be 2. What the heck happened? Why did they just do that? All right. They are 1-0. Wow, they only played one game. What happened?
You've played 2 games. You're
No.
1-1.
One game.
You lost in overtime.
We
Nope. You've only played 1 game. That was preseason.
Yeah, because this game got postponed.
What kind of
Yeah.
scheduling has your team? What? Oh, you know why?
The Hurricane. Totally forgot about that. Yeah, because those games got postponed. Yeah, so the Lightning only played one game, one against the Carolina Hurricanes. I watched that game, but yeah, they are 1-0 right now. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. Whole new team. A couple people returning. Stamkos is gone with the Predators, so let's
Which the Predators are going to be pretty good this year.
They are going to be pretty good. They did lose their first 2 games. I forgot exactly where they played. It was one of those European games that they did. Yeah. And they ended up losing those 2. But I would like to see how they end up doing this season. When they do go to play Tampa, I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of Lightning fans showing up just for Stamkos, which I would. If I was going, I would definitely show up just for him. Cheer him on when he goes out there. Because it wasn't Stamkos. It wasn't him the reason why he left. The Lightning just didn't want to give him enough money to keep him on that team.
It's the same thing about Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Blech.
When Mookie returned back to Boston for the first time, you know he probably got a standing ovation.
Of some people, I would have booed him.
Wow.
Because he's Freddie Freeman to me.
The whole Freddie Freeman thing, that's on his agent.
Supposedly.
That's what we keep being told, so I'm a believer right now.
Until he retires, he's like, by the way,
Yeah, like what Brady did.
I wanted to get out of Atlanta. I can't tell you. I've kept my mouth shut. And then he's like, oh, yeah, Bill Belichick was great, but man, blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Or he's going to be like, I love them. This is great. The Montreal Expos.
Montreal Expos.
Yeah, that's what the Atlanta Braves are going to be the next 10 years. Extinct.
You think so?
No. You're just going to keep on losing to the Phillies.
Oh. Yeah, that's true.
No, it's okay. Bryce Harper will one day retire. And then we'll be back on top.
No, they'll just have another person to...
Bryce Harper Jr.
Yeah.
Roy Halladay's son.
I was just about to say that. The days when Roy Halladay used to play. Yeah. Those were some crazy times. I love baseball.
I do too.
Now we just have to count down until baseball starts again.
I have like 130 something days until Duran plays.
There you go. Yeah, but I think that's all the news we have for today.
Yeah, pretty good, decently long podcast. Kind of got all of our news as far as sports goes.
Yeah. So if y'all do want to buy any of our stickers that we have up here, we do sell multicolored high five logos. Absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful.
And we also have some other ones. We have a Marlboro one, a Busch one, a Budweiser one.
And a few other ones there on the back of his computer.
Yeah. So if y'all are interested on anything that we do put out, let us know. DM us on Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. If you have our phone number, send it to us on that. Whatnot. Just go ahead and send it to us.
Yeah, I already got quite a few people saying that they really like the Marlboro one, that they're going to get that one. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Get them, because once we sell these, we can start selling more merch.
Yeah. So we are going to be setting up a Facebook group coming up soon under High Five, and we're going to moderate it. So we're going to be doing some polls asking people what type of shirts, hats that we're going to be doing, because we're going to be coming out with a lot of stuff here soon. I keep saying soon, but I feel like now is going to be the time to actually get this going. I got a job that's bringing in a little more dough, so I can actually start buying the stuff to make all these T-shirts and hats. So
we can't afford the Vietnamese children anymore. It's just not working. We've had to send them on their way. They're finding other work at the Amazon plant.
Yeah. And once Amazon moved into Tallahassee, our workers just left.
All the Vietnamese children left.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Good workers. That's
Yeah.
I haven't said Viet Cong. That is so terrible. Little Viet kids.
Yeah. Stay up to date on all our podcasts and everything, because next week we're going to have Haley Welch on. So,
yeah. And we're also going to have David Ortiz.
yes. That's going to be our
And
two
A-Rod.
guest stars. Yeah. We're going to have them two talk it out. So.
It's going to be the Hive Kua Falke. I tried to do High Five and Hawk Tua in the same. That was not going to work out.
Hi, Tua.
High Tua. No, High Tua! And we're going to have. Is he still alive?
Who?
We can have Jeremy Lin in.
Yeah.
NBA starting. He used to play.
Yeah, we're
Quite a
going to
bit
get
for the
all.
Knicks.
Y'all stay tuned. Next week's
Yeah.
going to be a very
Jeremy
big week.
Lin, David Ortiz, A-Rod, and Haley Welch, and Diddy.
Oh, yeah. And Sabrina Carpenter is going to do our halftime.
We have a halftime show
Yeah.
for episode 46 or whatever. It's going to be 45. Surprise. We've been embezzling money for the past, I don't know how long.
Yeah, but episode 50 is right around the corner. We're going to have everybody from the High Five on there,
Yeah. that'd be
hopefully. And maybe have some interviews shot before then that we can have on there. Have some filler time.
fun. Indeed.
Yeah. You ready to log off?
I suppose.
Yeah. I think sooner or later I'm going to hop back on doing my streaming again.
Oh, I need to too, golly.
Yeah.
Life happens and you just forget. And
Life
you
does
just want
happen.
to play video games just to play video games.
Yeah. I like playing video games and not talking.
Yes, it's very nice. Very nice not having to have the commentary while you talk.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll catch myself after like a 2-hour stream and I'm like, I need to talk. I'm just sitting here playing the video game. They can hear the audio of the video game, but they can't hear me.
Yeah. Yeah, but thank y'all so much for watching.
Indeed.
Until next time, we'll see y'all later.
Viva